Warning. This video and all other videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest any capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all. Alright, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and let me start by asking you this, right? Is Bitcoin bullish or is Bitcoin bearish? I'll give you just a second to really think about this. And of course the answer is, it depends on your time frame, right? It really depends on the time frame. On some time frames, Bitcoin looks quite bearish, and on other time frames, it's really silly to be bearish at all. The message of today is largely, do not be this little cat, okay? Don't be this guy. Because why is it going down after an enormous move off the lows, multiple hundreds of percents, okay? Why are we worrying about this at this current moment in time? I got a little bit of news, and then I'm going to show you some charts, and the charts are fantastic, okay? So with a little bit of objectivity, with a little bit of control of emotion, and with a little bit of zooming out, I think by the end of today's episode, if you are worried about Bitcoin going down, first of all, you can short it, right? If you're one of these people that's in the comments saying it's going down, right? Left translated is invalidated. Just short the thing, okay? That's the beauty of a market. I can be long and you can be short. But if you're sitting here thinking to yourself, well, actually, I'm pretty bearish. I'm getting pretty worried, okay? It's not doing what I thought it would do. Hopefully, like I said, by the end of today's episode, you're going to see that by zooming out, things don't look so bad. So a couple bits of news, like I said, look, PayPal is apparently launching a US dollar stablecoin on Solana. A pretty wild time to be alive, if you ask me. Massive news out of MasterCard as well, as they have just launched Crypto Credential, which allows users to send and receive crypto using just a username instead of a wallet address. Slowly but surely, this thing is becoming easier and easier to use, right? Normies never going to manage a seed phrase, but they probably could remember a handle such as @CamelFinance. Yeah, send me your crypto to @CamelFinance, right? One by one, the barriers to entry in this space will be lowered, they will be reduced. And of course, that will strengthen the networks that will onboard new users into this space. And one final piece of news before I get into some of the most bullish charts you could possibly ask for, frankly, is that New York Stock Exchange is going to launch financial products tracking the spot Bitcoin prices. Okay, so again, this thing's not going anywhere. And again, if we just think a little bit long term, you're going to see as we go through these next charts, okay, things don't look so bad, despite the soured sentiment out there, despite a lot of people doom posting and everything else. So number one, nice chart here from Miles. He is the king of the hodl wave. And you can see a hodl wave at the top. Once this thing rolls over, okay, just like it did here, historically, very good things happen to the price of Bitcoin walking forward. We are by no means starting to bottom out and curl back up, which of course is synonymous with putting in major tops for Bitcoin. So that's one in our favor. Hodl wave continuing that second leg down. Another one in our favor, okay, is this top one right here is Nvidia. And you can see Nvidia put in a Wyckoff accumulation, essentially, with a spring before moving to the SOS at the right-hand side, the sign of strength, before emergence to phase E. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this is what I'm talking about right here, okay? A nice accumulation, a spring where we violate the bit of support at the bottom, spring back up, okay, build, sign of strength, SOS, and then an emergence to phase E, markup. So that is more or less what we've got going on here. And below that, you can see is Bitcoin. Same thing, right? Spring, working our way up. We're at the sign of strength. Now that, of course, doesn't mean we can't roll over from here. But until we do, I really don't see any point in being bearish, because most probably what's coming next is this. The next chart that for me is super duper uber bullish and again speaks to that Wyckoff accumulation is this one here from Kushi. Bitcoin looking weak is in fact a life hack for really being the opposite. Here you go, here's a nice example. Okay, Wyckoff accumulation, spring, sign of strength, looking for that emergence. Are we not at the sign of strength? Again, we could certainly roll over, but we haven't done it yet. What about this from Nick? Okay, current setup, let me get my pen. Very, very similar to back here, to back here. Okay, what happened thereafter? This and this. Tells me at least to keep an open mind, particularly if we can start to get a push in the not too distant future about positive things happening for the price of Bitcoin walking forward. There's also a very, very simple and classical charting pattern known as the bullish megaphone, which has a target of, believe it or not, $180,000. I know it says right here, you still wouldn't believe it. And many of you in the comments, I know you won't. If this is what you think comes next, again, short it. And I'm not saying that because I'm 100% sure. I am more than happy to be wrong. I've been wrong many times before. I will be wrong many times again in the future. But again, there's one thing to just say, well, it's going down, okay? But money talks, right? Put your money where your mouth is. Take the short if you are convinced it's going down. So again, another chart in our favor, okay? Classical pattern tells us to expect breakout, retest, resumption, up to $180,000 to reach the technical target. Is that super bearish? Not for me personally. Not to mention, Bitcoin is currently following the same pattern as it did in February to March. If that is true, if this continues to repeat, then we are about to see this remainder of the upside leg begin any moment now. Again, check this out, okay? Walk down, big impulsive move up. Walk down, big impulsive move up. In both cases, we had this in the middle, right? Just like we've got this in the middle. Again, tells us to keep an open mind about seeing that phase E out of the Wyckoff accumulation. And we've got another bullish pattern when we zoom out a little bit via the Ichimoku cloud. We've got a golden cross. We have got a bullish cloud switch. Just like we had back here, by the way. Golden cross, cloud, bullish switch. Okay, a breakout, a deviation, a breakout, a deviation. Again, if this thing is going to repeat, then it tells us something akin to this is coming very soon. So hopefully you can see, okay, there are a bunch of things when we look long term, when we zoom out just a little bit, that seem to be going in our favor. At least that's my interpretation. As I said earlier, you don't have to agree with me. I could certainly be wrong. And if you want to go against the bullishness, then of course you are free to short this market. You're absolutely free to short this market. I have my positions, okay, called out ahead of time. Public stop loss levels. You can see the red on the right hand side of this scale. These are the public stop loss levels. Again, positions called out ahead of time. I've put my money and my reputation where my mouth is. I am bullish and I have my positions publicly. Okay, if you're going to write in the comments to tell me I'm wrong, to tell me the left translated cycle is invalidated, that's one thing. But put your money where your mouth is, okay? Take the short. For everyone else, zoom out, okay? Look at this thing. Look at this thing. How could you say this is bearish? Like I showed you, hopefully you can see plenty of hopium charts to look through. Tomorrow is a big day because tomorrow is PCE day, the Fed's preferred inflation metric. Softer May inflation expectations drove Bitcoin demand, yet here we sit underneath 70k for Bitcoin with Fed rate cut uncertainties looming. I think the too long didn't read about this is if on Friday what we see is sticky or hot inflation prints, the markets will sell off quite nastily. If, however, we see PCE come in softer, colder, or even in line with expectations, let alone below it, then I think the market's going to respond very positively to that. You can see all of this at the hard right edge, especially if you're a chart guy, especially if you've seen a lot of graphs. It kind of speaks to being heavy, right? It doesn't speak to wanting to go long out of there. So we're going to find out tomorrow, but you better believe if we do indeed see that PCE come in softer, come in colder than expected, markets are going to fly, including Bitcoin. There's not a great deal to say about the charts, right? The S&P barely hanging on to support for now. Okay, barely. But it reminded me an awful lot of this fractal from back here, right? If we put this in line with a daily cycle low, something like this, okay? Is that the end of the world? I don't think so. Notice how the symmetry of the market, okay, this would continue to hold the second angle for some time, and then I guess we'd be looking for a third and final blow off in here if it's going to occur. Of course, it could start from earlier on, maybe perhaps straight out of that daily cycle. That's what the weekly cycle would suggest. As ever, one day at a time, right? Innocent until proven guilty. NASDAQ, again, why are you bearish here? Even if we had a nice big pullback, okay? Is that the end of the world? I don't think so personally. The Dow Jones, however, is firing warning signs. So it's going to be important to see this recovery in the not too distant future. If not, it might be a case of moving the stop up to break even and sitting on the side waiting for the next cycle low to re-enter. Something else I'd like to point out, you notice how when we've got key inflation pieces of data such as CPI, PCE, what they tend to do is shake the market out right before they release the data, or the inverse, right? They pump the market up right before hot inflation data comes in and then the market tanks. So whilst this looks pretty bad, I would not at all be surprised if what we get is some big V-shaped recovery out of colder PCE data. And think about it, how many people are really positioned for that? How many people think that inflation is not sticky? So that would all make sense in my mind, as ever, one day at a time. Is oil done running stops? We're going to find out. I think this is probably breakout, retest, resumption, run all of the stops just a little bit higher up and then roll over. So we're going to find out. Gold, I think we might be working on a 2 drives pattern into a cycle low, and then we'll move this one over slightly. I think this is possibly what's going on, so I don't want to tolerate too much more downside here, but those positions we've got that are, mining stocks and whatever in the members section, they're all holding above support. In fact, they all look a darn sight more bullish than this, so can't really complain about that until we start to lose major levels. Same with silver, right? Breakout, retest, looking for resumption. So yeah, could we come back down again before going higher? Of course. But if indeed we do clear these highs from back here, then the thing is really bullish, and we probably go straight to $35+ plus. No qualms at all. We've already kind of done Bitcoin, haven't we? So what else is there to say about that? Short term, some uncertainty. But again, lower PCE on Friday. Expect this thing to rocket. And of course, the inverse is true. Sticky inflation, higher for longer rhetoric, and we might see some downside over the coming sessions. The other thing that would be really interesting, right, tomorrow, if we get softer inflation, we will see the yields roll over. Very, very bullish. Also tells us that the rate cuts are coming very soon, just like the European Central Bank and the Bank of England are letting us know. And then two more quick things to show you. The VNQ short, okay, short and strong, continue to push. See what the market will give. Nothing else to say about that. And I shuffled around the count for the Dixie. So I originally had this as a cycle low and was looking for an undercut, but as you can see, this one here looks a darn sight better. So I think we got a cycle low here for the Dixie, a higher low. That tells us, you know, everything's good. So far, still holding above the blue support line. So again, I want to get bearish to dollar. I really do. I've been saying this over and over again. Nobody wants this more than me, right? But look at it. It's holding support. It's continuously making higher highs and higher lows. So unless it does something like this in the next few days, which I don't think it will personally, I mean, hopefully, but, you know, until it proves to me that this support is going to break down, then I can't be bearish the dollar. And this whole deflationary bust dollar milkshake thing seems to be in play. So as ever, we keep taking it one day at a time. Okay, we stay objective. Tomorrow is Friday, of course. I'll be back on Friday to have a good look and see what's going on. And of course, discuss that PCE data. And then Saturday, not only will there be a level 3 members video, but there will also be that weekend deep dive. Things are going to continue to get more wild. We're slowly but surely approaching what I consider to be the start of the extreme wildness that I expect to see this year. We're probably only around 8 weeks away from starting to see things really, really heat up in terms of wildness. So look out for the deep dive, look out for the members video, look out for tomorrow's video. And until then, I hope you're doing well in life. Take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.